The Advanced Guide to Microsoft Excel 2013. PivotCharts. What do you see? Another Computer Mama Guide. The purpose of a pivot table is to analyze the data visually. Most people don't read numbers very well, but they can read a graph. A pivot chart is a graphical representation of the pivot table data. It is flexible. You can use the same tools to analyze the data and filter the results. Now you can see what really happened. This lesson on pivot charts includes a sample file that you can use if you wish. There are two pivot chart tools that we're going to focus on: Design and Analyze. So if you are ready, please start the program Microsoft Excel and open that sample spreadsheet. Hello Excel. Hello original data. The original data is our sales representatives Alex, Connie, Nikki, and Elizabeth. The sales are organized by month, and there's a category that we can use to analyze the data. Let's create a pivot chart. Select the entire spreadsheet and go to Insert, Charts, Pivot Chart. When you select the entire spreadsheet, then the pivot chart range is shown as absolute A through absolute H. There are no row numbers, and that's important. That means you can add or append data every month and the chart will update. Click OK to put this in a new worksheet. What do you see? There should be a new blank pivot chart, Chart 1, in the middle of the spreadsheet. There should also be a blank pivot table in the upper left-hand corner. On the right side should be the pivot table field list. What else do you see? There are three different pivot chart tools: Analyze, Design, and Format. Go to the pivot chart fields on the right side and click on Product. On the left-hand side, the pivot table now shows the products in rows: banquet, breakfast buffet, and so on. You need some data too, so drag the amount down to the values. Click on Count of Amount and change that to Sum of Amount. And while you're there, change the format to Currency. You can take off the pennies. Click OK. Click OK. Yes, this is sum of amount because it's money. Our little pivot table has only one field in the axis. When you add another field to the pivot table, you add another layer of complexity to your chart as well. This lesson will add a field to the legend, the series. It will create a crosstab pivot table. It will also change how the data is displayed in the pivot chart. What do you see? The category has been added to the pivot table and the pivot chart. Sometimes the data looks better if you pivot the chart. Go to Pivot Chart Tools, Design, Data, and click on Switch Row and Columns. What do you see? The data has been switched. The products are displayed in the columns and the categories are shown in the rows. The pivot table and the pivot chart are interactive. One filters the other. Click on the column labels in the pivot table and select a couple of the products. The chart will update automatically. Try this. We can change the chart type. Go to Pivot Chart Tools, Design, Type. Click on Change Chart Type. Select Stacked Column and then click on OK. A stacked column can make the data easier to read. Pivot charts can use styles to format the title, legend, data, tables, and axis labels. We can edit the chart elements as well. Let's add a title. Go to Chart Elements, Chart Title, click on Above Chart. Double-click the chart title and type New Product Sales. The Quick Layout formats the data as well as the position of the chart elements. Go to Chart Layout, Quick Layout, and select a layout. This quick layout will add a data table and remove the legend. Just to finish the Pivot Table Design ribbon, let's look at one more button. You can move the chart to a new sheet, or you can place it as an object in a sheet you already have. Cancel out, let's keep going. New ribbon. Let's look at the Analysis ribbon. Say you wanted to see who sold the fruit and veggies product. Start by selecting a field in the Pivot Chart legend. This is the active field. Go to Pivot Chart Tools, Analyze, Active Field, and click on Expand Field. When you are prompted, choose a field. Click on Sales Rep and then click on OK. What do you see? There should be a second field in the legend for the sales rep. It is expanded to show you who sold what. What else do you see? When you edit the pivot chart, you're editing the pivot table. They are interactive. They update automatically. That's good enough for this. I'd like to make a new pivot table that'll show a new tool, slicers. Go back to original data. Select the entire spreadsheet. Go to Insert, Charts, Pivot Chart. Select the entire range, absolute A through absolute H. There are no rows. And click on OK. Hello, Pivot Chart. Use the fields to build a pivot chart. Add the month to the axis. Add the amount to the values. Click on Count of Amount and change that to Sum of Amount. While you're there, change the format to currency and take off the pennies. So here's how you use the slicers. The pivot chart is selected. Go to PivotChart Tools, Analyze, Filter, and click on Insert Slicer. What do you see? You'll be prompted which fields you want to include. Select the following fields: Category and Product, and click OK. Hello, slicers. There should be one slicer for the category and another one for the product. The slicers may be placed on top of the pivot chart. You can move them if you wish. Slicers like charts, shapes, and pictures each have their own set of tools. The slicer tools include styles and buttons and size. You can change the color of the slicers if you wish. How do they work? If you click on an item in the slicer, the pivot table and the pivot chart will filter. See? If you click on more than one item by holding down your Control key on your keyboard, now you'll see more data. When you click on any item, the pivot chart will show which customer bought what product. One more cool tool. Go to PivotChart Tools, Analyze, Filter. Click on Insert Timeline. You'll be prompted which field to choose. Click Date, click OK. What do you see? There should be a timeline underneath the pivot chart. You can use the timeline to filter the data. This is pretty cool. Okay, one more example. Please go back to original data and select the data. This time, click on cell A1 and hold your cursor till you get down to the bottom row, bottom cell. What do you see? There is a new quick analysis tool that should pop up. It is a small wizard. You can use the quick analysis to create conditional formatting, charts, tables, even sparklines. This is a useful tool. Go ahead and click on Column Chart. Okay, that works. Well, that was a good lesson on pivot charts, and it ended up with a tasty piece of slicers. Ollie ollie in free, you get the cookie. This is the Computer Mama, and thank you for coming.